What is the ugly slash dark side of the high ticket sales space and industry? If you've clicked in this video, you've probably looked at, you're considering, or you're researching getting into the high ticket sales, remote sales space as a career to break into the online industry and take advantage of, the opportunity that you see in the space right now. But with the amazing results and amazing opportunity, you're probably still somewhat skeptical of what is the dark side, what is the ugly side of this industry that nobody's talking about, that you only find out about when you actually get into the space and industry. Coming from someone who was marketed to all the wrong things, and I thought I was going to make a couple $100,000 my first year, and I've coming up on my 6th year in the space. I've learned a lot. I've seen a lot. I've worked, 8, 10 plus different offers. I've scaled to 25K a month in commissions. And there's a lot that I wish that I knew and that I wish that I was told before I got into this space and industry. And if by the end of this video, you go, hey, this space, this career is not for me, grand, fantastic, amazing. You've saved yourself months, 6 months, a year of wasted time and spending 5 to 10 grand on a mentorship. So hopefully you get a lot of value from this. The thing you need to know about this space is that what comes with the insane upside also comes with the insane downside as well. Now, I've seen people as young as 19 to 22 making higher income than I could have ever even conceptualized even possible in such short time durations too. But what comes with that is insane volatility and variability in your income swings. And that can happen more often than not because you can be doing, 20, 30K a month in 1 month, or even on a lower end, like 10K a month in 1 month. But then you can also be back down to 5K a month the next month, or 4K a month the next month, or even zero, depending on what happens with the founder that you're working with. And you need to understand in this space industry, you are working with startups. So early business stage led founders. Anybody with a laptop and a Wi-Fi connection can start these businesses. And so you understand, you're probably going to be working with someone with not a lot of business experience. And again, people who are often in their first, second, or third year of business. So the same organization that you would expect in more bigger corporate companies, you're not going to get the same here. A lot of the times these people are relatively unorganized in terms of onboarding processes. Not every case and example, this industry is getting better, but it's definitely something to expect. And also to understand that things can change in a business on a dime, whether it's marketing or fulfillment, or the sales manager changes their mind and they want to go a different direction with their sales team. A lot of times this can happen. And so you need to be prepared with big income swings of, there's definitely the high highs, but there is definitely the low lows too. Don't get me wrong, you can develop systems and best practices to mitigate against this risk as much as possible, but it's definitely something that happens in the industry. It is not always sunshine and rainbows, and it is not always 10, 20, 30K months. You can have high highs and low lows too. Second thing is you are getting into a meritocracy, and sales is the most cleanest form and modern form of a meritocracy. And what I mean by that is it is a level playing field. It doesn't discriminate against where you're from, your background, your gender, your experience, your college education. Sales doesn't care. As long as you work enough hours and you're skilled enough, you have the right opportunity, you can make as much income as you like. But keep in mind, when you first start, you're not going to be very good, and you're going to be paid in direct correlation, proportion to the results you bring to the table. So, granted given, you're not going to earn the big bucks that you see online in your first couple months, let alone even maybe your first 6 months. And that's totally okay. You need to have a longer term vision for this thing. 6 to 12 months is where you should be thinking, even 1 to 2, 3 years in terms of long-term thinking of where you want to be in this career, in this industry. In combination to that, you need to fully accept that the results you get in this space are fully down to you and your sole responsibility. Some things that happen to you may not be your fault, but they are definitely your responsibility. And this space punishes you or rewards you on how good you are and how much of accountability and responsibility that you take on. So if you're looking for this to be some sort of type of side hustle or just like a regular 9 to 5, this is not that. You are very held accountable to what work you did, and your income and your commissions and how much you earn and the rewards you get from this industry will be reflective upon, again, the work that you do. And I know that's self-explanatory, and I know it's more common sense, but a lot of people come to this industry thinking that opportunity is going to be handed to them on a silver platter. This is not that. You need to earn your keep in this space and industry just as you would in any other job economy, and you're competing against other people to get a slice of the pie. So you need to act accordingly, and you need to accept it's going to take a lot of work. Next thing is you might work a couple of different companies, maybe 2 to 4 different companies within your first year in the space industry, and that is totally normal. Now, when people hear that, that might scare them off, being like, well, that's kind of risky and unpredictable going from company to company. It's actually not if you have the right strategies and best practices in place to allow those transitions to happen seamlessly. But the reason that actually happens is, one, because of the volatility that I spoke about earlier in this video, but two, the opportunity that you can merit and that you deserve earlier on in your career, maybe in your first 4 months, probably may not be the same as, what you're ready for once you have 4, 5, 6 months of experience, and then you need to graduate to a better opportunity, a better company that's more well established, has better foundations, has higher earning potential, is more organized, has been around longer, better marketing, all these type of things. And a lot of people, again, are very used to working with one company in traditional workplace for 1, 2, 3 years. This industry have to be totally okay and normalize working with different companies within your first year. And that's something that you have to accept about getting into this space. Next one is you're working as a contractor for these businesses. So you are not an employee. This is not like a normal 9 to 5. These people don't pay towards your retirement. Based off where you're living in the world, most companies should be paying towards your retirement. I know originally being from Australia, companies add to superannuation. This is not that here. This is like, you have to handle all that stuff on your own. You have to handle your own taxes. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not an accountant. So go speak to one, right? But pretty much you have to handle all that stuff yourself. And that can be overwhelming for some people who haven't done it already. It's really not too complicated, but just something to be aware of. Like, a lot of people might think that these businesses operate traditional, like they add to your superannuation, they give you paid time off, they give you benefits. Again, with the high volatility and the upside, you also get these, setbacks and negatives as well. So you need to understand, you need to take care of yourself. If you were doing that previously before with a company that you're working for with a traditional job, you need to understand that you need to take care of yourself in that regard. That also comes down to as well, like insurance, all those type of things. You have to do all these things on your own in most typical cases, because again, you are working as a contractor. So that's definitely something to be aware of getting into this. You need to be well prepared and organized to do all those things on your own terms, and a company is not going to do that for you in most circumstances and instances. Next one's a bit of an interesting one, although it's not like the craziest con, but it's something that I've experienced and a lot of guys I work with experiences. The relatability is not there for most people, and it's very frustrating. Most people will never understand what you actually do as a career, and you have to be okay with that. Again, minor con, but is definitely something that has frustrated me earlier on, but I've just accepted it after being in the space industry, that no one's really ever going to truly understand what I do, including friends and family, and that's totally okay, that aren't in this space in an industry. Like, you'll go home for Christmas and you say, oh, I'm in high ticket sales. Like, you can't really explain what it is that you actually do to anyone, and most people will think that you're in like a pyramid scheme or a scam. But in really simple layman's terms, you're working as a contracted sales rep in the info course creator online services industry, and it's really hard for people to grasp these days. So it's not a mainstream idea, and it's going to be very hard to relate to people with what you do unless you get a part of the community and spend more time with people who are doing the same stuff as you. So that is one tip. I do recommend getting amongst a bunch of people who are doing what you're trying to do, or who are successful in doing it, because you're going to have a lot more people that you can relate to and talk about your problems and issues, because no one else around you is really going to understand you and just will never really get it, no matter how hard you try to explain it. In most cases, you're probably going to be really time poor. Now, that is not in every case. I have been at a point in my career after a year or so where I was working 3 to 5 hours a day, like you see on the Instagram reels and the ads and the marketing, where I was making 8, 10, 12K a month consistently for a year straight. Now, I was doing a lot of training outside of that, but those were my actual work hours. So that is the dream that is kind of painted on social media. It is possible, but it takes time to merit and earn that. In the beginning, you're absolutely not going to do that. And if you want to earn 20, 30, 40K a month in commissions, that's just not reality, right? I've got a client of mine who made I don't know what the conversion to Australian USD is, but I think around like 43K USD last month is 19. The guy's working 14 hours a day, right? It's 14 hours of calls back to back. Like he's working like a dog to earn that type of result. But it's a pretty nice trade-off, especially if you're doing it in the short term as well, to bank as much cash as you possibly can. But especially in the beginning, you're going to be really time poor. And if you really want to get as much fruit from this industry as possible, you really want to push things, you're just not going to have the time flexibility at all. You're going to be working a lot of hours. And again, you can earn that flexibility with time and the right opportunity, but that absolutely takes time. And that's not the result you're going to get overnight. That will take some time to work up to. So you're going to be working a lot. You probably will have, pretty poor, work-life balance, and, you will be working, your work will be your priority for a good while, and it's going to be your priority over your lifestyle and doing all the things that you may enjoy doing at this point. But as long as you're willing to sacrifice the short term for the long term, you'll be all right. But you need to understand that with this career, you're spending a lot of time all day, every day speaking to people, and you can't get away from that. So that is definitely one negative that I wanted to mention. The last thing is realistic timelines of earnings. As I've said before, this space and industry is a meritocracy. So, you're not going to earn as much as you'd probably hope in the beginning. I do have guys I work with that get to 10K a month in 60 days, but that is not the average. Just to be perfectly and abundantly clear, that is not the average. A lot of times that does happen because of luck in some certain cases and instances, and it's rare that you do that in 60, 90 days. It's more than likely going to take 6 months to a year of a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of dedication, a lot of hours, a lot of rejection to get to these numbers that you see online. And even better, you should be thinking about, 1 to 2 years really to really form a great career, a great skill set, a great reputation, and really kind of make your mark in this industry, because that truly is what it takes in terms of the mentality, in terms of the effort, in terms of the sacrifice, in terms of the work. The results of this space, to capitalize on it and the opportunity that is here, doesn't come easy, and it doesn't come overnight. You will doubt yourself countless of times. You might get fired a bunch of times. You might get rejected a bunch of times. Well, you most certainly will get rejected. You may have people who say no to you in interviews, and that's totally okay. It's all a part of the game. But if you're willing to sustain and go through a really hard period of 6 to 12 months of your life, you can come out the end of it with a really great skill, a really, really, really good career, and a great platform of earning opportunity and more freedom than you had previously with what you currently do, most probably, in terms of like traveling and work hours and all that type of stuff. And that's really what it takes. And it's definitely not an easy overnight thing. So hopefully this gave you some of the insights that you've needed to find out whether or not this industry is for you or not. And again, if you've gone, hey, this probably takes a lot more work than I originally thought, and I don't want to do it, perfect. This industry is definitely not for you. But if you've heard a lot of these things that I've spoke about and you go, okay, I know this is going to be challenging. I know this is going to be difficult. I know this doesn't happen overnight, and it's not this pipe dream, and it's not going to be perfect sunshine and rainbows, and you're willing to stick this out for a good 6 months to a year, or even 1 to 2 years, then this could be a fit for you. So hopefully you got some value out of this, and I'll see you guys in the next video.